man. Well, listen, lads, we've got a bit of time to go, and we did want to have a discussion on this podcast, this watch along about a certain United player. Do we want to have that discussion now?
Now's a good time to have it. While we're still in half time.
So those that don't live under a rock. No, Rooney's retired as a player. He's took charge of Derby. I think he's got some decent results with Derby this season. I know they're quite low in the table, but since he's taken over, I think they've started to do all right. But as he announced his retirement, it made me. I think I was quite sad, even though he was sort of already retired anyway. When he announced it, he was the player that I grew up with from when I first got into football. He just joined United, and I grew with him as he grew as a player. And I think that my mates would agree, he is our player and he's very close to our heart. So when he did announce it, we take a step back and see what he's done for us, and it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird with Rooney, isn't it? Because he so often over the years he's been memed, and he's had certain things said about him, and like you kind of forget. Like, I mean, for me personally, I kind of forget how good he actually was in his prime, and I think that is because of all the memeing around him and that kind of stuff,
I think that he's not looked at as much as he should have in terms of great players in the world. You got to remember, he's the top goal. He's the top. Yeah, he's United's top goal scorer ever. He's England's top goal scorer ever. He's won every title you can win as a player in the Premier League. Absolutely, and it's not just that for me. It's not just his achievements. It's how I viewed him as a player. Growing up, I looked up to him. He was the perfect way to put it for me is a warrior.
Yeah,
an absolute warrior.
I was having a chat with Ross the other day, and we were saying that the thing is with him and what will let him down is people will just remember him for shagging a granny. That is a shame. It's a shame.
It's an awful shame.
He's shagging a granny. His ridiculous tweets and things like that do lose your. Obviously, he was an incredible player. Obviously, there's no point saying how to debate. Is he the greatest Premier League player of all time? No, but the
greatest Premier League player, you say?
Yeah.
You could argue. I think some people.
There's definitely an argument. There's definitely an argument, but you'd hate me if I told you who I thought mine was.
I was going to say Harry Kane, ain't you?
It's not fucking Harry Kane. It's stupid. No, it's Aguero.
Oh, see, this is a whole other conversation in itself, really. Aguero versus Rooney.
Away from Rooney at the moment, aren't you?
I think no, but my only argument for that briefly would be Rooney did go ahead and win the Champions League.
I get it, but was again, I don't know. Would you? I know you'd. Right. You'd obviously say, and obviously the right answer is to win the Champions League. But if I could give you the option to win the league against your rivals in the last kick of the game, that is actually a difficult choice compared to an actual Champions League trophy. It's difficult.
I think if you're talking about Premier League greats, I think you ask one question: who would you rather have in your team?
In their prime, Aguero.
Fair enough. I think.
Well, it depends. I'd rather have Rooney in my team because we've got Kane. Whereas if I didn't have a striker or a cam.
Yeah. Both players were guaranteed goals, weren't they, in their prime as well?
Yeah. They were both. I'm not even. There's barely anything between it. For me, Aguero is special, but Rooney is special. There's not. I'm not. It's difficult.
With two capital letters.
For me, Aguero is the greatest goal scorer the Premier League has ever seen. I agree with you there. But as an overall player, Rooney didn't just provide goals. He was a captain. He was a leader. He got numerous assists. If you look at that, he was a team player. He dropped back when he was getting on a bit. He dropped back into centre mid, and he acted as a superb centre midfielder for us. As an overall player, it's no doubt for me, and I think a lot of people would say it, that we'd have Rooney in the squad over Aguero.
His England career was dodgy because I remember when he scored a World Cup goal was it a World Cup goal in 2014? And it was like he hadn't scored. I just remember the commentator saying something like he's finally got his World Cup goal in like 2014. I was like, what?
Yeah, but what's one World Cup goal compared to being the top goal scorer of England ever?
Well, he won't be the top. He will not be the top goal scorer of England in the next decade.
But he is. But he right now. Kane is scored at the World Cup. He's had a great World Cup last time out. Don't get me wrong. But who else has really turned it on at the World Cup? Because we haven't won it since '66. Yes, you can't say shit all about it, can you? Really?
You don't like England, so I don't know. How can you be bothered that Rooney is England's top goal scorer when you admit you don't give a shit about England?
But it's not that. It's just when you say, "Oh, he only scored his first goal in 2014 in the World Cup." We're England, yeah. We're never going to win it, and I've said this.
But if you to be that player that is the greatest, you have to turn it on at the World Cup, even if those around you aren't. Like I know, Kane's goals weren't exactly the greatest teams in the world, but I'm not even trying to compare Kane. I'm just saying, Rooney never took the game by the scruff of the neck, as he was capable of doing, because he absolutely was.
I think totally going up. I thought the topic was Rooney and his retirement and talking about his greatness, but really you took 2 points. Oh, you've took the greatest Premier League player ever, and you've took greatest England scorer ever. You just took it away from him just without even.
To be fair, that's what's happened.
Right. I think you've completely forgotten that I completely was fair and spoke about the fact that he shagged that, wanted to shag a granny. Like, I think that's unfair. It's difficult. It's difficult. I think the issue boils down to him being not that likable, personally.
And that was my point near the start. It's one of the shames.
What point are you trying to make?
We're just having a chat, mate. We're just having a chat.
We're talking about Rooney's career and as a professional, as a footballer. And
the actual topic of this chat was meant to be, is Rooney the greatest Premier League player of all time? That was meant to be the chat.
That's the title of the video, anyway.
Did you?
What?
No one asked that question.
Well, I did put it in the chat before we started this.
Well, Adam, is he? Is he the best Premier League player of all time?
No.
No. Okay, Josh.
No.
No. He's top 5. Is
he now? Is he?
I'd say he's top 5. He has to be. We're growing up, Josh.
Lampard, Gerrard.
No, Gerrard doesn't go near it.
No, I'm kidding. I think I'm kidding.
Henry's up there, Aguero's up there, Cantona's up there. Lampard, I'd say, not close, but he is. He's a legend.
Cantona's not top 5.
United from being mid-table to winning the league after one season, and we dominated for 20 years after that. I'm not saying he was there, but he was the turning point for United.
You can't like you said, you can't use the right. Yeah, right. Okay, Rooney's not the best player in the Premier League. You've heard it here first. The game's back on, so let's I'm going for a piss. Christ.
Well, I mean, let's never forget Wayne Rooney's skill score. Yeah, let's never forget that. That was iconic growing up. I wanted to be on that show so bad. Right.
Well, let's be honest, Jay. It's probably a good job you weren't.
No, Josh. I think that would have projected me to stardom. But here I am talking about Wayne Rooney.
I think a meme would have been made.
A really bad meme of me falling over.
We've had a few comments in during this chat, so
sorry. I wanted to try and stay away from him whilst we were talking about that, because we are going to clip that up into a video. Marcus said on the Rooney thing that he'll have a naughty icon card in FIFA 20 and 22.
Probably, yeah.
Yusuf just said, "What up, Josh? I thought a suit would suit you today. Suit you, more partridge there."
Hey, nah. Can't have a day off from substituting the class, Yusuf, mate.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of Adam's boys have been going for you, Josh. So Josh bases his opinions on FIFA Ultimate.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Hey,
Luke, quite good, isn't he? Vidic, that up and coming player Vidic is quite good. I've got him on Ultimate Team. He's all right.
He's decent, isn't he?
Luke got 77 pace, which means he's good.
That's the only reason, on FIFA. Luke Parker said Thierry Henry is the greatest Premier League player ever. We move on because Jack got a better point. John Onorisa is the best player.
Yeah.
Maka said Jay knows his stuff. I know. What can I say, mate?
God, clearly none of these guys have been to a quiz, but
we don't ignore the quizzes, everyone. Ignore the quiz. And Paul said he's probably the greatest English player to play in the Prem, but Henry is greater than him. It's the best English.
I mean, Shearer played in the Prem.
Yeah, well, Shearer scored.
So did Frank Lampard. Listen, it is an interesting topic, and I think the point we made quite early on, it was the fact that he's not going to get the praise he deserves because of the memes, because of the news, because of the tabloids over the years, and that is a great shame because he was an incredible player.
Yeah, and it's also a great shame that we didn't mention Shearer just then in our chat because
well, who knows, that might be in still. Right, back to the game. Thanks for joining us on that one, everyone.